Hey everybody, welcome to the 90th episode of the Going Ballistic podcast. I'm one of the hosts, Ryan Kleckner. We got the other Kleckner here too, Jason. How you doing, buddy?
Good, man. Just working like a mad dog. It's crazy.
I know, but we appreciate it. Making money for all those guns.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say that as of yet. I'm trying to make money for all those guns. It's always, as you well know, start a new venture. There's always a strangle at the beginning that you got to deal with. So, yeah, I've been pretty tight on projects until I can finish getting the rest of this going. So
I never knew that about being an adult, that there's such a thing as having money on paper, but not really having money.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute, that's not cool.
No, it's not cool at all.
Yeah, I get it, man. Well, it'll work out for you, I'm sure. I think it's awesome.
And you're going to miss out this weekend, unfortunately.
Kleckner camping trip?
Kleckner camp out, man.
Oh, I'm going to miss that. I don't want anyone to get hurt, but I want a good story about knives.
Yeah, I saw Grandma Sunday. I was up in Prescott Valley and got to see her and Aunt Carol and everything. Yeah, and she was too busy trying to do her taxes or something. I said, Grandma, you need a calculator or something. She's over there doing all this long division, and she was pretty focused. So I didn't get to beat her up over the knife story too much.
I'll miss out. I hope you guys have a good time.
Oh, always, man. Frisbee golf.
Send me some pictures.
That's our thing. Frisbee golf every year.
Yep, that's funny. So what else has been new? You have any chance to get shooting, or are you still working too much?
No, I've been working too much, man. Actually, I was picking John's brain when I was up in Prescott Valley this weekend, looking for a new place to set up to do some long range shooting. Didn't know if he knew any places up around the Dewey area. So I'm going to scope out some areas and see if I can get something that's a little easier to get to than all the hiking I've been doing where I've been going.
Well, don't say anything about it, because too many people get to know about it. They're going to go out there.
No, I won't.
You're going to get all your fans wanting to go out there with you.
But I'm looking. I'm definitely looking for a new spot.
That's cool to get out there and get a chance to shoot. We're heading out to the course here pretty soon that I'm teaching. That once in a very long time I teach course, which is awesome. I'm excited to meet everybody out there. We'll be doing that soon. Man, we have all sorts of people already on the YouTube live stream for the podcast chiming in. This is awesome. We got tons of people on there. Before it started, we're getting things sorted out before the show started. Hurricane said, maybe we'll learn if Ryan is qualified. And I was joking back and forth with him and had to ask, like, hey, are you qualified? Like, where do you hear about that from? And he said he heard about it from the Warrior Poet Society, which is great, because just last week I was talking to the guys at the gym about it, explaining what qualified was. And I think they thought it was the stupidest thing they've ever heard, but I think it was funny. So I got to ask you, Jason, are you qualified?
Oh, dude, I'm qualified in all kinds of stuff. You got to be a little more specific.
So you've passed the Kleckner test of confidence. Yeah, so the first time I was asked that, I think it was Fort Stewart, out in the woods, walking around doing something. And there's nothing scarier than being a low-ranking guy around a bunch of bored middle-ranking guys, right? So a bunch of like E4s and E5s, and you're like one of the privates or something hanging out there, and they get bored, they're going to mess with you. And the squad leader, I think, is who asked me. It was Staff Sergeant Johnson at the time. It was 2nd Squad, Bravo Company, 1st Platoon. I think he's the one who looked at me and said, hey, Kleckner, you qualified? And I gave, I think, the same answer you gave. Yeah, I'm qualified in a lot of things, Sergeant. What are you talking about? And they went, no. Are you qualified? And I looked at him and thought, I don't know where this is going. And finally someone said, qualified. Are you qualified? No, I have no. It sounds like you're saying koala, like koala bear, but I have no idea what you're talking about. And they said, well, good. Here's your chance to get qualified. The way to get qualified is to take a quick couple step run at a pine tree and jump and flip and bear hug it upside down. So your feet are above your hands, your head's towards the ground, and you're bear hugging it with your arms and your legs. And it's been too long since I remember the standard. I think it's 5 minutes. Maybe it's 7 or 10. I think it's 5 though. It's holding on for 5 minutes makes you qualified. And it is such a fun thing to do because the first time you try it, I fell off. First time I tried it, I got on there. And it wasn't like I'd already made it to the Ranger Battalion. I'd already been like, you already kind of knew the guys a little bit. It wasn't one of those like life or death scenarios. And I let go or I slid off or something, whatever it was. I didn't take it serious enough because it is not really a strength game. It's a mental game. So I slid and fell off, and I think I did anyway. Got in trouble, probably got smoked, and then tried it again. And once you just settle in and put it in your brain of, okay, I'm going to take this serious, and no, I'm not going to quit, you can do it. And it's all about just going to your happy place in your brain and squeezing tight and locking your hands and feet in so you don't slide down the tree as the blood's rushing to your head, and just relax and breathe and just zone out and sit there. I think it is 5 minutes. I don't know. It doesn't seem long enough now. But anyway, you do that, you become qualified. So when I got out of the military and I went and started working at that summer camp up in Williams, a lot of the guys there and I were messing around with each other, just trying to haze each other, play jokes or pranks on each other, stuff like that. And we're finally out at the ropes course that we just got done helping build. And it was, a few weeks prior, and it was dark at night, and I mentioned them qualifying, and they thought that was the coolest thing ever. So we ended up having to keep working up their mental fortitude to get them qualified. And then pretty soon it turned into a deal that you'd walk around, the chow hall in the morning, everyone getting breakfast, all the people that worked at the camp, and you'd start to see the scrapes on the inner forearms. That was the telltale scrapes that people have been out there qualifying. And within a week, it had spread through the camp like wildfire. I mean, there must have been 30 employees or more. And you'd start seeing the guys, like, it was kind of like Fight Club. You could nod and everyone knew what you were doing. Is the concept of qualifying passed around.
Yeah, then I'd have to say that I have never been qualified. I've never jumped at a tree, spun around upside down, and hung there.
Yeah, I don't think you have to jump. You can walk up and, grab it and flick your legs up. It takes a little bit of skill to try and get it done. And like I said, it's a mental game. So it's a great thing to do. It's fun to do. I'm glad Hurricane brought it up because, like I said, I talked about it last week, and it's just so funny that he heard about it on the Warrior Poet Society podcast with John Lovell, which means it's a small world. He was a ranger too. So now Tucker's not going to be there, is he, Jason?
No.
Dang it. 'Cause that'd be fun to see the collectors out there trying to get qualified in the pine trees.
I'm going to bring it up when I'm out there.
The best tree is about, I don't know, I'm guessing 12, 14 inches for someone our size.
Something you can wrap all the way around.
Yeah. Yeah, and you got the good pine trees up there in northern Arizona. Yeah, wrap all the way around and kind of get your wrists into it. Too skinny is going to be too hard. Yeah, try and qualify, man. I want to see a picture.
I will. I'll try to take a picture. I have Twyla take one.
Now, Twyla should qualify. Once you know it's a mental game, you get two people going at the same time, and you're looking at each other, just like yelling at each other, trying to get each other not to quit and screaming not to give up. It's fun. Now, are you one of the ones that thinks I'm crazy that pine trees smell like different flavors of ice cream?
No, I'm a believer.
Were you not a believer at one time, or am I mistaking you for someone else?
You're mistaking me for someone else.
Then you probably taught me it since you're the older one. Yeah, whatever it was. I remember when I got taught, I thought it was a joke. And it wasn't my dad, because I think my dad thinks we're crazy.
Oh, everybody thinks you're going to smash your face in the tree or something like that.
Yes, you have to walk away from the tree. Guys, yep. I swear it's more in Arizona, because there's been other places I've done it, and it's still there. Like every pine tree, most of the pine trees you can smell across the country smell like butterscotch. But you get to Arizona, you get the nuances. You can get chocolates and strawberries in there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, they definitely smell different.
I'm only laughing because I'm picturing what everyone's saying right now, thinking how crazy you are.
Oh, yeah.
You get your nose between the bark and the pine tree and smell, and you'll get that butterscotch like ice cream smell, and every once in a while a strawberry or something like that. It's really, really
weird.
Anyway,
and it's strong. It's not like you got to bury your nose in there. I mean, it's pretty prevalent.
But people know that we're full of it, so they're probably going to think we're messing with them on this one.
That's all right. I know it. I know it to be true. I've known that since I was a kid. I think my parents thought I was crazy when I brought it up.
Then you must have been the one that taught me. That's funny. I didn't even realize you were the one that taught me, because I remember learning it young from one of the collectors. And now whenever I tell people, it's of course immediately they think you're just going to smash their head into the tree.
Oh yeah. Especially from our family. I mean, everybody's like, yeah, whatever.
Or just getting someone to smell, and then we laugh thinking, you idiot, you thought a tree smelled like ice cream.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And that's probably the problem from all the pranks in our family that we've done is nobody believes nothing. I mean, you got to work like a lawyer to prove your case in order to get someone to believe it.
You do. That's funny. That's funny. Well, let's see
But
what's going
yeah,
on with some of the comments. People are glad we're back. Good. We took a little bit of a break. I flew solo last week, Jason. We missed you, man, but
I
we
know. Sorry,
understand.
guys.
No worries. Red Leg wants to know, what do I think about the recent ATF letter? Jason, have you seen that at all? Have you heard the scuttlebutt?
No.
So the ATF, I talked about this on the Trigger Words podcast last night. The ATF sometimes just comes out with letters. Like they just write a letter and sign it, signed to the ATF. And then now it's not law, but it's not a rule, but it's not a regulation, but it kind of is, because if you don't follow it, you're going to get in trouble. And I have my own issue and problem with that, of a federal agency making rules just on a whim like that. Rules that are things that could have serious impacts on your life just by changing a letter by a bureaucrat. That's kind of creepy to me. But what they did is they redefined how you can legally measure an AR-15 pistol for its overall length. I mean, how obtuse is that? But for those of you that follow the laws and you like the Trigger Words type topics, if you measure a AR-15 style rifle for the overall length, you need to measure it with the buttstock fully extended, which kind of doesn't make sense because they want to make sure that it's not too short. So it's cool that they let you do it that way, but it seems counterintuitive that they wouldn't want you to extend it fully before you measure it to make sure it's not too short, right?
Right.
Because, well, it's collapsed, it would be too short, right? Well, that's how they do it. For AR-15 pistols now, they said that when you measure them for their overall length, that you cannot take into account any pistol braces. So not only do you not extend them, you don't take them into account at all. You might as well take it off when you're doing your measurement. And if it's folding, so you have one of those like folding buffer tube adapters,
Right.
you have to measure it with it folded. So they want it the shortest possible length you can get for an AR-15 pistol. The theory there is that for a rifle, the buttstock is a functional part of the rifle and it needs to be there in order for it to legally be a rifle. Therefore, it's needed to be part of the measurement. Where on a pistol, the pistol brace is not, the presence or absence of that pistol brace does not make it more or less of a pistol. So they're saying it's just an accessory, no different than like a flashlight you'd put on a gun. So you don't measure it with a flashlight for the overall length. You know, if the flashlight is stuck out beyond the barrel, something like that. So this is just an accessory, so you measure without it. And even folded, you measure with the folded because they're worried about concealability and being too small, and that technically you don't need it deployed, extended in order to fire. It won't cycle, but it'll go bang once, and that's all that's required to make a firearm. So they're saying folded is its smallest configuration. But then folded is also the smallest usable configuration for a rifle. But they'll let you get away with that one. So why does this all matter? Well, because if your AR-15 pistol is shorter than 26 inches in overall length, you're not allowed to have a forward pistol grip. Because then it would be an AOW. And if you really want to get into all the mental gymnastics of it, go check out the Trigger Words podcast. I try my best to jumble through why that matters and why that changes things and stuff like that. So
now, do you think that's because of some of the new assault rifles don't use a buffer tube, like the one we talked about, I don't know, 10 or 12 episodes ago, had a spring built into the receiver?
Maybe. It might be. I mean, those definitely, you wouldn't use the pistol brace. I could see that. But to them, it doesn't matter that it cycles or not. To them, they're just saying that the pistol brace is an accessory, and therefore, as an accessory, it shouldn't be counted in the overall length. So, like the flashlight is the example, the best one I can give. If you had a long flashlight that stuck out past your barrel, you couldn't use that flashlight to add to the length of the rifle, right? Because it was just a temporary accessory. So they're just saying, hey guys, just so you know, it's a temporary accessory, can't use it. And that causes a bunch of people potentially to be violating the law now and get in trouble and not even know about it. I mean, I don't know if you have one of those, Jason, but you didn't know about that letter. And
No.
technically the ATF, just by writing a letter, changes the rules. It's scary stuff, man.
Now, if you fired it, let's say you had one that was folded over, wouldn't the receiver just come flying backwards and smack into you?
So the law brand, the law tactical adapters say that they're strong enough to withstand one firing. That you should not do it. Never fire it with it closed, because there's a stopper there that holds it. So as you unfold the law folder, there's a little bar that stops and holds the bolt carrier in place for you. Because if you didn't, if you just tilted the rifle up, the bolt carrier would always fall back.
Right.
There's nothing holding it in place. So no, there's a little holder. They say that it's strong enough that it won't come flying out into your shoulder. But I mean, you could take the gas tube off or turn the gas system off too, and it wouldn't make the bolt carrier move at all.
Mm-hmm. And to answer Crazy Oregon Beaver's question, no, this is not Tent City orange shirt that I'm wearing. This is actually, I have to wear these on commercial sites where where we do construction. So no, the bald head and the orange shirt is not me doing time.
Yeah, bald head, orange shirt, and the white room.
Yeah, no kidding.
But they let you podcast from jail. That's cool.
Do they really?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, it looks like you would be. Yeah, it's funny. The room and the hair, the fluorescent light on your head.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
This is going to be my new office. So our last kid has left the building, so we are kid free currently. And so
is it sad? Is it what everyone says? Like there's a weird transition where you're happy to get them out, but then you're sad they're gone.
No, I'm actually happy for all of them. They're all doing really good.
That's true. Your kids are doing great.
Now, Twyla, on the other hand, no, she's having empty nest syndrome, something fierce and a little depressed and sad to see it all go. So I think it's two different emotions. I think for me, I'm happy that they're doing well and it feels like I've done my job as a parent. And Twyla, on the other hand, feels like, where's my kids? So, but no, I'm taking over, man. I'm took over a room. I already told Twyla, this is my room. I don't care what you do with the rest of the house, but the garage and this room are now mine.
Nice. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So, Philip Zielinski says, behind Ryan, there are 3 lights.
Yep.
There are 3 lights. And
a gun with from the Civil War, and you can almost see a spot on the stock where the ball was stuck in it.
Yep. The gun that was made after the Civil War, that was in the Civil War. Yeah.
Yep. And saved his life when the ball hit the stock and was stuck in it. I can see the mark.
Okay, the story's getting embellished now. Was that what was told to you?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You didn't hear that part of the story?
No.
Oh, yeah. There was a musket ball stuck in the stock where it was shot at him and buried itself in there. And I've never seen the gun. I've only heard these stories. The closest I've been to it is right there.
Right here.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, we've talked about it on here, haven't we?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a cadet rifle even. It's not even a full-length rifle.
Yeah.
So it looks kind of like a musket. I mean, it used to be a musket, but it got turned into a rifle. Actually, I take that back. I think it was always a rifle. It had rifling, but it used to be a flintlock rifle, and then it got converted into a modern cartridge rifle, like all those did back then. The Springfield trapdoors.
It's a breech load, right?
It's called a trapdoor. But yes, breech load. Yeah, single shot. It's the same kind of rifle Geronimo had. It's a 45-70. So yeah, the history of it is smart. They knew they had a bunch of barrels and stocks and lock works. That whole side plate that you can see right there. That's where all the springs and the hammer and the trigger mechanism is it's mounted all on that side plate. And they had all those already done, and they needed new rifles, so they actually just cut out this back section where the chamber is, and then put that door on there at the top, and the firing pin's even at an angle because the hammer's on the side of the gun, because the hammer used to be for flintlock. Right. So they changed the hammer to just a regular hammer, and since it's on the side of the gun, when that lid closes, the cartridge sits way in front of the lid. It doesn't sit underneath that lid, that door. So there's like a 3 or 4 inch door. The cartridge sits way in front of that. And there's an angled firing pin that comes from where that hammer is on the side all the way over to the center. Good 3 or 4 inches long. Fires the gun, and then as you lift the door up, there's a little tiny, little lever tries to flip the brass back to get it out. And the stories I've heard is there's a lot of scratch marks in there, guys with their pocket knives or whatever, just digging the brass out all the time because the brass wouldn't come out from the previous round. But yeah, single shot, 45-70.
Yeah, we have one, not that one, but I used to shoot a lot when I was younger. And the cool thing about it is we would shoot it if the sun was setting just right. You could shoot it, a long distance and actually see the glint of the sun.
Oh, I believe it for sure. Yeah.
Because it's so slow.
When the sun was behind us, my buddy Aaron and I, when we shot a bunch of that single stack pistol matches with our 45 loads, you could see that. I'm a big fan of plated bullets for pistol. Not a full copper jacket, just barely thin copper plating. Makes them real soft, makes them real accurate. And so the base of the 45 was coated with shiny copper, and we loaded them to mouse fart speed. So it was just so slow that you could watch like little like laser beams going into the targets. It was pretty cool with the sun down behind you. So Bob Dylan asks, what do you guys think of the Ruger precision rifles? Be gentle. You may own one. I think they're a great rifle, especially to get started into long range shooting. I've seen some guys do some pretty impressive things with them. It's one of those rifles that only if you're really, really running your gun might it hold you back. And even then, it just might be desirable. I don't know if it's, the actual performance of the gun. It's not the most accurate gun you could possibly get. It's not the nicest trigger or the nicest stock or the nicest bolt, but they're nice. I would not hesitate using one at all. For a little bit more money, you guys know I like the Tikka TAC A1. I got one I'm actually bringing out to the course. But if you like Ruger, if you like American made and saving a little bit of money, there's nothing wrong with those Ruger precision rifles. Now, the Ruger precision 22s, the 22 bolt actions that look like the Ruger precision rifle. You know what I'm talking about, Jason?
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard good things about those.
I've never shot one. I've held one, looked at one.
I thought it was cool because having a trainer that's similar to your full rifle, what a great idea and affordable, and Ruger makes good 22s.
Right.
But just no one I've talked to, and it's only been 4 people, say that they got they just all were disappointed they didn't get the accuracy out they wanted. All 4 of them were just like, it's not very accurate, which is a real bummer. You think it would be really nice.
Yeah. And I've seen it, and it looks just like it. I mean, it's almost a spitting. I mean, other than the 22 caliber bullet, I've not seen it side by side, but it looks identical to the gun, at least the one that I saw.
Yeah, it does, which is a cool idea for a trainer. Louis or Louise is asking, what do we think about chromoly actions versus stainless? Well, whatever you want, man. I know it's popular to do like the regular carbon steel action because it can polish up and get smoother, and stainless steel barrels because they might last longer. I know it's popular not to keep stainless on stainless, but who really cares? I mean, guys,
talking AR-15 or bolt
gun. If you guys are really worried about it because it matters, great. But I find that most people that are worried about things like, oh, that's a barrel burner, or oh, what kind of action should, if you're spending the money, you want to get it right, trust me, I get it. Get the one that you really want to get, and don't make a bad mistake with something that's going to be an investment. I completely understand, but don't wring your hands over, oh, well, if I get a carbon barrel, it's not going to last as long as a stainless barrel, but then it might do this better. But then I don't want this cartridge, even though I really do, because some guy at the gun shop said that's a barrel burner. Who cares? It's a barrel burner. Replace the barrel. I mean, a barrel is like a set of tires on a car. If you want a set of tires, you want some mud tires for your off-road and truck, guess what? Mud tires wear out faster. But if you're still willing to put all-terrains or mudders on a truck because of performance or because of the look or because of whatever, just realize you're going to have to buy a new set of tires sooner. Same thing with the barrel. So I'm not saying don't worry about the money, guys, but please don't wring your hands over things that don't need to be worried about. What else you got there for questions? Jared asks, do you think you could still have enough reliable downrange accuracy at 1,200 plus meters with a 20-inch 6.5 Creedmoor? Good question. Yeah, you'd be right at the limit, though, Jared. I guess depends on your load, too. That's one of those ones where a lighter bullet might actually work better because you can get it going so fast at the beginning. But I'd still try and shoot like 140 grain, a little on the heavier side, just to try it. Yeah, I don't think I'd want to do it just to see. You're probably right at the limit, though. Having a 24-inch barrel would be a little bit nicer there. So,
from a guy that does not like long barrels.
Yeah, well, we're talking 1,200 plus meter.
Right.
Yeah, if you need to shoot out that long, give me a longer barrel, without a doubt. And shorter barrels can be more accurate, but you lose enough velocity that, so my short barrel 308s that I love, Jason, they are not 1,200 meter plus guns. And I deal with that. And so some people say that, that short of a barrel, you can't shoot that far. And my answer is always, yep, you can't shoot at a mile with a short barrel 308. I get it. You can't. So, but since I never do that, I shoot shorter distances, and it's easier to handle in the meantime. Everything's a trade-off. There's no such thing as a free lunch.
That's right.
Whatever you want. Red Leg says Frank Galley said the same thing. I'm not sure what he's referring to, but cool.
I was going to do a flashback. I was trying to remember the other day when we talked about shooting angles, and you brought up the fact that the natural slope of mountains is it 30 degrees?
It's about 30. The angle of repose.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite topics. But I for some reason, I was arguing with myself for like an hour at work over that. I was like, dude, was it 30 degrees?
It's about
or was
30.
it less?
I mean, it's not exactly 30. And it's going to depend on what kind of material you're talking about, right? The Grand Canyon has steeper sides of the hills than other things. So yeah, it definitely depends on if it's a bunch of rocks or it's clay-based or dirt-based or whatever. Just the point is it's about that.
And how much difference is 30 degrees at, say, 600 yards?
I think it's 0.87, the cosine of 30 degrees. Anyone know the cosine of 30 off the top of their head? Let me take the calculator on my phone, turn it sideways, and see if I can do 30 cosine. Let's see, or just cosine 30? How does that work?
I guess what I'm driving at, is it that big of a difference that you need to adjust for it, or is your human error going to overcompensate that?
So it's going to be 0.85. I said 0.87. I was pretty darn close.
You were pretty close.
Give myself winner. So it's going to be as if it were 0.85 the distance. So you said it's 600?
Mm-hmm.
Let's pick this up. You go 600 times 0.85 equals, it'd be as if you're shooting a target at 510. So yeah, it'd be a miss depending on how big the target is.
We're talking...
If you shot a 510 yard target with your 600 yard dope, that's what it would be like.
Right.
So it's at 600 really, but when you shot it, you should have had your 510 yard dope on and said you had your 600 yard dope. So depending on the cartridge and depending on the size of the target, that could be a miss for sure.
Interesting.
It's not that bad. I mean, what cartridge are you using? Like,
I'm just thinking out of the 308. I mean, I never shoot 30 degrees. At best, I'm shooting 5 to 10 at any given time, which to me is not enough to worry about. I was just curious if you were shooting down a 30-degree angle, out of curiosity. But
yeah, so I'm shooting a 308. I'm shooting about 15, 16 minutes. I know you guys don't use minutes anymore, and I'm old school now. I do 12 minutes at 500. So let's call that a 3 to 4 minute difference, depending on what we're talking about. Right? So 3 to 4 minutes at that distance is 20 inches, 15 to 20 inches.
No, it's a pretty big mess.
So again, depends on the size of the target.
Right.
And then you shoot a flat or shoot a cartridge, it's not going to matter as much. There's not going to be as much dope difference between there.
Right.
But 30 degrees that far away is almost not going to happen unless you're on a cliff or on a building or something like that. So if you're out there and you're looking down a hill, down to the valley below, and it's not a cliff, and it just is like whatever normal, generous sloped hill, and you're looking out across the ground from the base of the mountain, you almost know it's less than 30 degrees, right? The second it's on the ground below and it gets further and further away, it's less and less than 30 degrees.
I said typically it's probably more like 5 or 10, somewhere around there.
Yeah. So there you go. Just
good.
Aim low. You'll be fine. Jared also asked,
low.
Thanks for the answer. Daniel Defense is coming out with a 6.5 AR-10. Only has a 20-inch barrel. Don't know if it's worth the money. Yeah, it's worth the money if you want a new gun.
You know, I haven't looked more into that. They had a release of that a while back with a little quick advertisement that was on the internet.
For what?
For that
bolt gun?
Yeah.
Oh, he's talking about the AR-10. They're coming out with a new gun. You're talking about their like precision rifle, bolt action rifle for Daniel Defense.
Right.
You didn't hear about my review on that one?
No, I didn't.
It was like a D- I gave it.
Oh.
On Gun University. Yeah.
That's not good.
No. I felt bad about it, and I thought about giving it better, and then other days I've thought about it and thought, no, it should get even worse. So it's really hard. It was one of the earlier reviews, and I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, Delta 5. There you go, Jared. Yeah, the Daniel Defense Delta 5. They just missed the boat on that one, dude. They really did. I think there's good people there. I think they know how to build guns. I think I'm almost more upset because I know they could have done so much better. But it also seems like it was one of those guns made by a committee in a conference room. You're like, oh, it needs this feature, and oh, it needs this, and I want it to have this, and it just did not come out right. But it has all the cool things on paper. There's still things I like about it. I mean, good for them. They made a cool barrel changing system where you don't have to worry about the headspace.
Right.
But other companies have done it too, but they did it on a much smaller platform. Good for them. They made their own stock instead of just grabbing somebody else's stock. Yeah, they did a lot of cool stuff. But some things they did wrong. Well, one, the stock, they made some really cool custom mold lines on it. Most people looked at it, and when you grab where the pistol grip is, where your firing hand goes, on the side where the palm swell normally sticks out a little on the side for, in the palm of your hand, instead of going back in smooth to the rifle, they had it stay wide, and they put almost like a beveled thumb rest on top for you, which at first thought you look at it and go, hey, somebody's thinking. Somebody's subscribing to what I like to tell people to do. It's not my idea, but what I like to tell people to do is keeping your thumb on the right side. And they gave a nice little shelf there that's clearly to rest your thumb there. And well, that's really cool. And then the second I grabbed it and went to grab the gun, I realized, oh no, that's a place to torque the gun. Like one of the whole reasons I want you to have your thumb on the right side is so that you don't torque the gun. And by putting it there in that little like divoted shelf, it actually makes it easier. So I was like, okay, good motivation. I don't know if that's a good idea there. And then the adjustable comb, the cheek piece,
right?
The stock, they have 2 hex head bolts down in the plastic. It's like a really hard plastic, a little bit harder than like a Magpul plastic, like a fiberglass impregnated type plastic. That feel, it's kind of dense, but just super hard. Right. Well, they have those hex head bolts hidden down in the stock a little bit, and so they're recessed. They're recessed big enough that I could take a pinky and stick my pinky in the hole before you're reaching down to touch the hex head. Okay, can you picture what I'm saying?
I can.
And I get on the gun, and as soon as you get on it, my head and my cheek, and just about everybody's, I think, gets about to the last inch of an adjustable cheek piece. Right? So when you pull the bolt back, the bolt doesn't hit your cheek. You got some clearance. It ends up making your cheek about, again, touching right about an inch from the edge of the cheek piece. They put one of those holes right there. So when you get on the gun and when you open the bolt and you have about that quarter, maybe half of an inch where the bolt doesn't hit your face. So that what I would think the perfect spot for your face, your cheekbone is right in the dead center of one of those pockets. So I got on the gun, I put my head down, and I smashed my head down and put the weight of my head on it. I went, ow. I looked at it, what? Who thought this was a good idea? So not only is it uncomfortable to lay on the gun, it's uncomfortable when it's going to fire. That thing is just... Anyway, so I started working down the gun, and it got more and more frustrating, the things they did. The ones they had out there to test had mimmed. You know what mimming is, right? Metal injection molding.
Mm-hmm.
They mimmed the bolt handles. So the test guns, I even heard reports of this, of the bolt handles just breaking right off. People loading the gun and breaking the bolt handle off.
Oh, that's no good.
Because they mimmed the bolt handle. So it's like, yeah, really cool. I love the idea of someone branching out and doing something that's not their forte. I loved the idea of them doing the interchangeable barrels. Really, really smart for them. But 2 kind of more dings is the interchangeable barrels. The problem with it is when it's got the barrel extension on the barrel, like an AR-15, so you just put the barrel on and tighten it in so you don't have to worry about the headspace. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
The problem with that now is they're trying to go after like the precision rifle, the super precise guys, right? Well, guys that want to build precision rifles and have like super cool rifles, they sometimes want their own custom headspace, right? They want to get a Krieger barrel or a Bartlein barrel or whatever for their gun. Well, now you can't. Now you got to get a Daniel Defense brand barrel. And they want to have like a certain jump of the bullet and a certain head spacing and a certain chambering. You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Well, they just guaranteed you can't have your own headspace anymore. It's got to be the factory headspace. So I was like, okay, they kind of ding on that one. Oh, I remember one. Oh, it's only got a B minus. Man, I'm lowering the grade. That's it. I'm lowering the grade now because it got brought up. The other problem is I think people know I love the bolts running smooth on a gun. This thing, when you hold the bolt back, I actually did it at SHOT Show on video. I put my finger on the back of the bolt knob, right? So I pulled the bolt back on an empty gun. I put my finger on the back of the bolt knob. I looked at the camera and I just pushed the bolt knob, and the entire rifle, I slid it forward on the bench because the bolt binds really bad. It just, I don't know, it just bothered me that the bolt would bind so bad for it. What else was there that I beat up on the poor gun about? Oh, the price. So here's the funniest one, which is where I think they did it in like a room for a committee, is they started advertising on all the PRS advertising channels for the competitions, the PRS competitions, and they paid to have themselves be the official rifle of the PRS. They did all that stuff, right? And they flat out came out and said, we want to be the PRS rifle. The problem is in PRS, there are two categories that you can compete in. There is the stock category, and then there's the open category. Just unlimited anything.
All right.
I hope people can see how, even though it seems like it's a nice rifle with a bunch of features, and again, Daniel Defense usually makes good stuff, that cannot keep up with an open class rifle. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's just not going to keep up with a top of the line, no expense spared, perfect everything rifle. So it's not going to keep up with an open class rifle. And it's $2,200. Open class rifles are like north of 10 grand. So it's going to be in the stock category, right? To be competitive.
Right.
And clearly they went after the PRS market. That's all their advertising was PRS. They became the official rifle of PRS. All this money, all this time, all this everything. There's a problem. In order to be able to be used in the stock category of PRS, the MSRP must be under $2,000.
Oh, well, that's not going to work out for that either.
And they made it at the $2,200 price point. So it's just all this together. It actually made me mad. I think the reason I kind of crapped on the rifle so hard, and now I'm feeling bad about it, is because I was so mad that I had so much potential, and then all that stuff was just like, guys, who, like, I'm here. I would have, Marty Daniels, an acquaintance. I didn't know they were doing it until they came out with it. But guys, a phone call for free, I would have told you, hey, ignore me if you want, but here's some things I think you might want to do it here. Yeah, they only got a B-. I don't know. I guess maybe I am more fair than I thought I was after all. As I go through, but yeah, I kind of go through and say, there we go. We gave it a grade of a B-. Honestly, we wanted to go lower, but there's quite a few good things about the rifle that kept the grade higher. Unfortunately, those good ideas were put into a total package that just doesn't work. Let's start with the positive. And I go through the positive about some of the things, and a bunch of cool pictures for it. And then I go into what we didn't like. Even in fair, I'm like, okay, maybe we're splitting hairs, maybe this. Apparently I made a bunch of people mad about it, but.
Don't you ever give Jackie the night off? Why is she trying to answer questions for work? Jackie, what are you doing?
Jackie, why are you not answering enough questions? Answer them faster. Everyone loves Jackie, so Jackie's doing something right.
I've never met Jackie. I hope to meet her someday.
You need to meet her someday. She's got a little baby boy, and that's why she's up right now. She doesn't get to sleep anymore.
I don't miss that at all.
So here we go. Jackie says, Paul asked us about scopes. He said the Leupold Mark IV is discontinued, nearly impossible to find anywhere. It's true. It's a bummer. Wondering if I have any other scope recommendations in the $1,000 range. Ugh. They left a big gap in the market there. You guys know I love the higher end Vortexes. The Vortexes that get a little cheaper, I'm a little worried about. For hunting scopes, I think the Leupold Vari X5s are awesome. They're awesome. They're completely affordable if you find an online deal, and they're really good scopes. Tactical scopes, it's a little tough. It's a little tough. You kind of get everyone rushed to the bottom of the market or the top of the market. And Brian F is wanting suggestions for a lightweight, long-range hunting scope. Well, come on, Brian F. You can't have everything. I have lightweight. I use my Razor LH on my lightweight Barrett Fieldcraft. That's an overall super light package. It's a 1.5 to 8 power scope, so I don't know if you call that long range or not. For me, I think it's the perfect magnification, but I don't know.
Yeah, you're weird. I don't like shooting 8 power.
Well, either do I. I shoot like 3 or 5.
At what ranges?
Hunting ranges.
Oh, I thought we were talking long range.
No, That's why I said you can't have everything. You want a lightweight scope.
I got you.
You want a long range shooting scope. You can't have both. Hey, Steve, how you doing, man? So yeah, we got a lot of. I can't keep up with all the comments on here. 22-inch AR-10 6.5. Would you go with the LMT Aero Custom Barrett JP or something else? Ugh. Depends on what you want, bud. Money's no object, and you want the most accurate AR-10 you can get, like commercial AR-10. I think JP's the answer. You want more of like a battle rifle, maybe LMT, something like that.
Yeah, I'm still happy with my JP, but I did have to break it in. It did not come broke in as we thought it would. So keep that in mind, at least in my experience with the one I had.
Yeah, it was weird. It was a bummer that you had that experience. But
It didn't take long though, about 100 rounds.
Yeah,
Which,
that's true. Still,
which isn't,
shouldn't happen, but it did.
yeah. But all in all, no complaints. It's been fantastic.
Yeah, and they make great rifles too, but they're not exactly battle rifles. So anyway, well, guys, I'm fading. I'm getting tired, and I got to start packing for my trip coming up here pretty soon, and getting other stuff done. Jason, I appreciate you being on, dude.
Oh man, like I said, sorry I missed you guys last week. I just tied up. So glad I could be here this
you guys
week.
didn't even do anything, and I'm already feeling bad about my Daniel Defense Delta 5 review. Like, how stupid were all those things? And then you look back and go, yeah, but it's a really accurate rifle, and they did a lot of cool things right. And I don't. Ugh.
I would love to be at SHOT Show with you or some gun event and off in the distance filming the looks on some people's faces when you walk by. I'm sure it's just here comes that Kleckner guy.
Like, Matt, I'm going to crap on the rifle?
Yeah. But you're being honest. I mean, but it'd be funny to watch.
Oh, go only a couple booths. Most guns I'm pretty nice to. I think I had someone get mad on YouTube about my Canik review where I said, "Hey guys, this Canik is awesome. This is an awesome pistol for a budget pistol." He responded something like, "Yeah, do you even know what you're talking about? This is completely BS. This gun was completely tested to NATO standards, and because you're just some big gun website, you're afraid to admit that it's the best gun out there or something." So even when I say in the video in the review, this gun is awesome, I would recommend this to anybody. This thing is amazing, and I don't say anything negative about it, I still get people mad that somehow I crapped on his gun. And for everyone listening, guys, mil spec is not a compliment, right? Mil spec doesn't necessarily mean it's good. It means it's made to the lowest standard that works. Right? I mean, a mil spec washcloth doesn't even hold water. Anyone that's in the military knows what I'm talking about. The washcloth they issue in basic training, you put water on it and the water beads up on the fabric. So that's what mil spec does for you. So I'm going to go back and rethink my grade for the Daniel Defense Delta 5. It might get tweaked a little bit. But anyway, thanks for being on, Jason.
Oh, my pleasure, man. Always enjoy being here.
I gotta do real quick some housekeeping stuff. The contest. Someone's getting some MagTech or S&B ammo before I get it. They're getting the new 150 grain 6.5 Creedmoor ammo. It is William G from Aurora, Illinois. You won, dude. William G, Aurora, Illinois. Jackie will get a hold of you because, like people are saying in the comments, she runs everything behind the scenes, which is true, and we all love Jackie. You won the ammo, dude. I think we should do it again because it seemed popular. So again, Jackie will correct me if we can't, but I'll stick my foot in my mouth and say it. We'll give away another box of the 150 grain 6.5 Creedmoor ammo from S&B. It's brand new. I haven't even seen it yet. You guys go check that out. We'll have that contest up and running. And if you want to support my wife and the new project she's doing, go check out the new beard care company, musketandhatchet.com. Musketandhatchet.com. And you too can have an amazing beard like this one here. Jason, we need to get you to grow yours out just so we can get you to be a spokesperson for it.
I'll have to, but I tell you anymore, man. I grew mine out. I just looked like I aged 30 years from all the white and gray mixed in with a little bit of black.
Yep. Looking like our dads.
Yeah, unfortunately, right? No, I'm joking.
All right, man. You're awesome. Thanks for being on. I might do the next podcast might be from the course. So I'll keep you, Jason, and everyone else. Stay tuned.
Yeah, let me know and I'll chime in for sure.
All right. Thanks, bud.
All right, buddy. See you, everybody.